humanity as a whole is absolutely predictable.
Right. Well, and before the flood, you had people living, 800-900 years. So what could a person accomplish in 800 or 900 years?
If you're living to be 700 years old, you had better build a house that's going to live through a worldwide flood. If not, you dumb. Why you live in this land? Why you breathing air?
And then immediately after the flood, people still did live, quite not that long, but still quite a while. So yeah, there's a lot of potential there. But I think you can sit here and say that the buildings that they say were all built in like the 1600s, and then all of the buildings built in the 1700s, and all of the buildings built in the 18. If you think what supposedly the world population was when these buildings were supposedly built, and a majority of the histories of these buildings say that they were built within 1 or 2 years. So if you look at the population at the time in those places, and you look at how many buildings were supposedly built in just a year or two, it's not possible. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
When did they do their farming? When did they do their hunting and gathering? It's just not possible.
The local stories too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's
if you can dig down.
Of no doubt were built by the humans of their time, had years of stories of people
to go with it.
And people talking about, yeah, my dad worked on it. Now I worked on it. You can find his name in this
very
corner,
few.
this block.
Yeah, that is very few. And those took many years. They took decades to build. So why would it be different with the others? And so that's why, I think the Egyptian Empire was all over the world. And we have Egyptian type architecture all over the world. And then the Babylonian architecture, we have that all over the world. We have Media Persian type architecture all over the world. Look at Russia. They have a lot of Persian type architecture. And we have a lot of it here too that I just didn't even realize until recently, because I don't do a lot of traveling and they don't put that stuff in the history books, so
it's something that, well, a lot of it.
The Byzantines were busy. Let's just admit that the Byzantines were busy, but they also had a long period of time to do their Gothic architecture. So saying that something was only built in a couple of years is kind of stupid when they could have had 1,000 years, to build these things. And their population was probably a lot more than what we've been told.
Yeah.
Something happened in the 1800s, as far as population is concerned, to cause a big shift. And the excuses for the Civil War and all of the other wars around the world that were happening around that time period could point to some kind of a cataclysm that did happen at that time. And then the differentiation that we've got between calendars and the dates on buildings and tombstones and stuff that point to an 800 or a 700 instead of a 1700 or an 1800. We've got some shuffling. Somebody took time after the Lord came and shuffled it up like a deck of cards, and then put things in the places they wanted to put things in, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, and it also can be just, one of my favorite sayings is, the devil doesn't have to do the human's work. Okay. We're perfectly capable of screwing up without his help. So it's one of those things that is,
and it'll only
like the Black Plague was massive enough. It spread all through Europe. Millions of people died. Documents went missing. You can't keep up.
And if you add a one to whenever, if you add just a few hundred years there, it only takes one generation to reprogram and to rewrite history.
Yeah.
You're seeing that now. We are
History-
seeing that now.
history
They took Aunt Jemima off my when you guys are taking my little mammy off of my syrup bottles, and off of my boxes of things, I've got a problem, because they were the best cooks when we went to
American off the Land of Lakes and just kept the land.
Yes. I mean, you're not
oh.
canceling what you think you are canceling. By doing this, you are just encouraging the big companies and the big corporations that you've supposedly got problems with. And, you know, whenever we went to the medieval fair,
even just in recent years, we have seen how easy it is to get
erase stuff.
Oh,
the whole Mandela effect
things. So it's not hard for humans to, whether they're doing it on purpose or not. We have even seen instances in the last 3 or 4 years where people have just human error. Somebody screwed up, caused a big issue. So digitally, whatever, you know, and so it's not hard for humans to mix things up, whether intentionally or accidentally.
And all you have to have is a little bit of intention to make a big impact where the non-intention ends up happening. Like Fruit of the Loom saying that they never had a cornucopia in their labels. And then people going back and finding old t-shirts, because we don't throw stuff away, you know, and finding, well, how are you telling me you didn't have a cornucopia? Because I've got your t-shirt right here and there's a cornucopia on it, you know, and we all remember the cornucopia. We all remember the, you know, from those of us from the 80s, we all remember the commercials that had the fruit guys singing and talking for the Fruit of the Loom stuff. And they try to say that that's not a thing. And I mean, there's so many instances of that is obvious. Somebody's trying to pull wool and gaslighting us, you know. And then you've got or
it's some little bippity bop with her pretty nails typing on the keyboard going,
no, it's the companies are actually saying it. I mean, these are actually the companies trying to deny it. So when the companies are trying to deny something that they actually did, then you know that that's gaslighting. That is.
Right.
And then you throw the little painted nail girls in there on top of it. And
then nobody knows what's going on.
Nobody knows what's going on. I mean, and whenever we went to the medieval fair, we had to walk where we parked. We walked through the food, some of the food vendors going into the fair. And I saw one and then a big picture of this beautiful Black woman on the side of it. And, you know, I'm like, that's where I'm going to eat. So, and why is that? Why is that? Number one, I'm from Oklahoma. And if you wanted good biscuits and gravy, you found the restaurant that had Mammy cooking. That period. End of story.
Or her big boy.
It was good.
The bigger the boy, the better the cooking was gonna be.
Whenever I started getting hungry, I'm like, okay, it's time to head back over there because that's where I'm going to eat. And some of y'all got food, or you didn't go, I guess, but some of our group got food at some of the other vendors, and they were really disappointed in what we got. They were like, there was just a little bit of meat on it. Well, I ended up with this brisket burger that had so much brisket on it. It was huge. And it was her daughter and grandson that were doing the cooking. And so that's how long she had been doing this, you know, and it was a multi-generational thing. That was the best cooking. There is a reason why they put those pictures on there, because that meant something. Those Black mammies knew how to mother children. I am sorry. I love my mother and my grandmothers, but the white people in my family had no idea how to be a mom. I had no idea what I was doing. I kept telling you that you were my guinea pig. I have no idea what I am doing. You are my guinea pig. But they knew what they were doing. And some of the best people that we had come in to mentor us was Mr. and Mrs. Ashley. And these tall, beautiful Black people. And I just think color is beautiful because I sunburn so easily. But, you know, they were the sweetest.
Very red back to ghost white.
Exactly. Never tan. Yeah. But they were precious. And she sat there and tried to teach me how to make gravy, which I'm still not good at. But some of you guys, I've got somebody laughing in the background. Mine is wallpaper paste. I still can't do it. But some of you girls caught on to what it was she taught. He did crafts with you guys. So yeah, woodworking crafts. I mean, it was amazing. It was wonderful to have them. And for these, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but when we're sitting here, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, and we just had, you know, Columbus Day, which has nothing to do with Columbus. It has to do with the Irish Knights of Columbus. Go read what it's actually about. And, you know, good, bad, or otherwise, at least just educate yourself, okay? And look into the history. It would do everybody good to look into that history. But we've got Thanksgiving coming up, and some people will just, Thanksgiving, this awful, terrible holiday. And it's like, wait a minute, have you read William Bradford's account of what happened? Because that's important. And if you don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving, fine, but don't come online and start telling everybody else that they're being supremacist or whatnot. If you haven't read William Bradford's account of what happened and why it could possibly be important, and then go into some of the Native American festivals and stuff and find out why this time of year is important. Now, the last Thursday in November or fourth Thursday in November or whatever, you know, is arbitrary compared to the Feast of Tabernacles runs around this time. So, yeah, anyway. Okay. Donita's rant over. Sorry.
Okay, we're way off track now.
So. It ties in. It does tie in. I promise. I promise. Let's see. I was going to pull up this because people just, they don't realize what the history actually is when they're not, you know, paying attention, not reading the history.
Yeah,
you know,
it's one of those things that I don't discourage you to talk about it, but don't act like you know what's going on until you've read up on it. Like, and not just a Facebook post.
Yeah.
The book. Go loan it or get it on loan from the library. Go read this stuff. Go
a lot of you know, like the letters from John and Abigail Adams to one another are enlightening as far as the birth of our quote unquote nation. And they're free on Kindle. You can find them for like $1 on Kindle. So yeah, and a lot of that stuff is in archives.org or it's free on Gutenberg. You know, it doesn't cost very much for a lot of those things to be able to find them. This was an interesting, the Chickasaw Nation, was this one of the ones that you were looking into?
Yes.
Because they're down by Shawnee, right? They're
the Chickasaw people believe in Abba Benili.
Oh yeah.
And they believe that they came from a very far land away, I think from the west, I think is what they said. And
they do have a link to that, and I'm trying to remember. So
let me find. I think I've got it somewhere. But yes, they believed in Abba ben Eli, the one who sits above. So again, kind of that above and below thing a little bit. I don't think that they had anyone that was really below. They just had above. They also believe that they and the Choctaw, I think.
I think I found it. Okay. Yeah, because I thought you were looking at the Choctaw too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, see, it's not spelled quite the same, but I mean, we were just sitting here trying to put this together. And Abba, of course, his father, Ben Eli, is what it looks like. And let's see, also called Inki Abu, Father Above, which is very interesting. Inki, if you know the Sumerian Gilgamesh story. So many things tied together here. But I will make sure and have the link to this in the notes for the membership. But yeah, a supreme being called Abba ben Eli. Which Eli, I'm trying to remember what Eli means in Hebrew.
I think it means high or elevated.
Elevated, ascent, or my God. Yeah. So Father on high or Father God. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. There were ancient beliefs in a multitude of celestial powers. There were 4 beloved things above: the clouds, the sun, the clear sky, and he that lives in the clear sky. It was believed that Abba ben Eli lived above the clouds and on earth with unpolluted people. He is the sole creator of warmth, light, and all animal and vegetable life. They worshipped him in smoke and cloud, believing him to reside above the clouds and in the element of the holy fire, which is interesting because of Moses, and the tabernacle was led by a pillar of cloud during the day and a pillar of fire during the night, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, this is just very, very interesting story here.
Yeah. And all the Native Americans have, all the tribes, all the nations have very, very interesting origin stories, very interesting creation stories. And all of them have some version of the Great Spirit who creates everything or is in everything. So, hey, what the heck? I need to go handle a dog real quick. I'll be right back.